Have you heard of silly string as a wall treatment? Neither had I, but it was a quick sand to get rid of, and then this room sat gold for a couple years till I was ready to transform. I had to remove the crown, which was a little controversial and didn't go all that well. But after I patched everything up, I was ready to build my frame and bring my vision to life. I had never built a wall before, but I wanted an arch, and I figured it was safer to build a wall than it would be to try and cut one out of the existing load-bearing wall. I like to add some function into my design whenever I can, so I decided to make a cabinet built into the wall. The wall is only 6 inches deep because I didn't want to lose a lot of square footage, but that was the minimum I needed to fit a wine bottle. I highly recommend a stop block when making a bunch of pieces that need to be the same size. I know this isn't the prettiest wall frame you've ever seen, but I just kind of did it like a puzzle, one piece at a time, until I had all the components I needed. I had to be sure that I thought of everything before covering up the frame with drywall, the cabinet being the most complex part because I knew I wanted sliding doors and that they would need to slide into my frame. I routed grooves for these doors so I am able to remove them even after the drywall is up. The drywall might have been the most frustrating part of this project for me because I am a perfectionist and there is nothing perfect about drywall, especially when you're working with an arch. I had to keep telling myself to trust the process and remind myself that it usually looks worse before it gets better. This was the project that taught me you're supposed to mud before you put on any sort of seam repair tape. You mud underneath, put on the tape, and then you mud over top. Before this, I thought you only needed one layer of joint compound, but that is not true. You need multiple layers and sanding in between. The wall treatment I'm planning on using is Roman clay, which I thought would hide any sort of imperfections. That was also not true. I needed a smooth surface. When I was done mudding, I primed the walls, added a little floating shelf, and then got to the Roman clay part. I used the color Gem from Portola Paints. They had videos on their website teaching you how to apply it. They were very helpful. I had to call them multiple times. You do a light sanding in between layers and you decide how many layers to do based on the look you want. I had planned on doing 2 layers and I probably would have had more differentiation if I had stuck with that, but I ended up going for a 3rd. So even though there's not a ton of highs and lows with what I went with, I still love the look of it and it still adds dimension and makes you want to touch the walls. At this point, the wall is pretty much done. I just needed some finishing touches. I hated the look of that return air vent, so I made a little frame and used half round dowels to create a grate to go over it. I had to redo the baseboards and find as close of a match to what was existing as possible. I painted the air vent cover white and then attached it with magnets so it could come out if needed. I added really pretty hardware to the cabinet below, and then I added wine storage above using acrylic pegs. I still need to add more of these. I really love the look. This has to be the most complex project I've done to date. So many firsts in here. I learned a ton and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I had never seen silly string on a wall before, but apparently that used to be a thing along with the gold. It's so much fun to look at the before and after. It's hard to believe that it is the same room. Do you have a small closet but some decent wall space? Let me show you how I took a blank wall and created a ton of clothing storage with these IKEA Tarva dressers. I actually made over these dressers twice, so this is kind of 2 IKEA hacks in one. The first one was paint only. I was in love with color blocking at the time, so I decided to just have fun with this one. I used tape to play around with the shape that I wanted, knowing that I could always add more to it if I needed to. I used a light green chalk paint and pulled out the drawers to make sure I got all of the edges. I loved these leather pulls that I got off Etsy. I did still feel like something was missing, so I ended up adding some white to the pattern, which I love the look of. But I eventually decided I wanted to cover up all of the natural wood and go dark with these dressers. I saw Drew from Lone Fox Home use this paintable wallpaper on an IKEA dresser. I'll tag him in the caption. I love the pattern and the texture that this wallpaper adds. I'm adding trim around each drawer face so I didn't have to worry about lining up the pattern. I just made sure each drawer face would match. I used Mod Podge to attach the wallpaper to the drawer face. I did not worry about the edges. Again, since I'm going to be trimming it out, that'll help hold them down. I used a pine lattice, mitering all of the corners and making sure that things were lined up perfectly so it didn't ruin the function of the drawer. It's amazing how adding some trim to IKEA furniture makes it look like a completely different piece. That finish work is so important. Don't forget to caulk along the inside edges. The next step was picking a paint color, which usually takes me a while, but this time I made a decision quick and went with Bare Cypress Green. I chose to use a matte finish, which I love the look of, but just a heads up, it sometimes shows scuffs more easily, but you can prevent that by using a protective top coat. I did do 2 coats, but I was honestly so impressed with the coverage of just 1 coat. The last piece of the puzzle was figuring out drawer pulls. I wanted them to span the width of the drawer face, which can get expensive, so I decided to use copper piping to get the look that I wanted. They're easy to cut to size and you can spray paint them any color you want to. I went with black originally, but ended up liking the look of gold instead. So I went over all of them with an antique gold rub and buff. I love that I was still able to use the leather pulls I had originally gotten for the dresser. I didn't attach them in any special way. I just slid them in and they held pretty nicely. If they started to move, you could always attach them in a more permanent way. I did end up spraying all of the copper pipes with a matte clear top coat. I did put a polyacrylic top coat on the top of the dresser and the sides, but in hindsight, I should have also gone over each drawer face with a top coat because the wallpaper has a little bit of a raised texture, and if you have long nails, I could totally see them gouging out some of the material. These dressers added so much storage and make such a statement on this wall. I absolutely love how they turned out. If you have a wall that could use an upgrade, I'm going to take you through step by step how to add wainscoting, or is it wainscoting, to any space. With any wall treatment, I always start by taping it off to give me a visual, and I always use my laser level for this part. If you're unable to remove your baseboards like us because of our awesome floor installation, you can use 3/4 inch quarter round to help the paneling blend into the baseboard. It prevents the square edge from jutting out and creates a smoother transition. I'm using 1x4 MDF boards. You can also use 1x4 pine boards, or really any size that you want. The most important part is that the boards are level and flush with each other. Have shims on hand for this purpose. Having flush boards is crucial to being able to hide the seams. If you have an area that it's hard to get an accurate measurement, you can use a template piece, nail it in place, and then get the smaller measurement and add that to the template measurement, and then that gives you the longer length. Angles make everything more complicated. I could probably do a whole other video about how to set your miter saw for whatever angle you need. Let me know if that would be helpful. The step that makes this paneling look super expensive is framing out the inside of each area with base cap molding. The saying measure twice, cut once is so true, but I honestly probably measure about 5 times and sometimes still have to cut more than once. You want all your measurements extremely accurate and everything to fit very tightly. If you have to hit it to snap it in place, that's perfect. You're trying to avoid any gaps that make the seams more obvious, like this one. I decided to add even more texture by adding beadboard inside the bottom squares. You add the beadboard first and then add the base cap molding on top of that to frame it out. This is a good technique if you want to cover up textured walls with this paneling. You can put flat panels inside each square before you add the base cap molding. The finishing work is so important. You'll always have gaps around the edges because ceilings and walls are never perfectly square. This is where I like to use a little piece of screen molding along each edge. For all the flat seams, I use wood filler. Once dry, you sand it down so that when your eyes are closed and you run your hand over that seam, you don't feel a thing. All other seams are filled with caulk, and it never hurts to prime, especially if you're going from a dark color to a light color. Since I used 2 boards for the middle section, I had to cover up that seam with a decorative piece of trim. If your wall is big enough, I've seen people do this paneling with 1x6 boards and it looks really, really good. Painting is always the most satisfying step. It's when everything comes together. It makes everything look like one piece and it gives you that expensive custom look that you're going for. Random tip, always test a sample of the paint on the wall in the room that you're going to be using it in. Lighting makes such a huge difference. This is the color Mauve Mist by Benjamin Moore, and it's such a pretty color, but way too pink in this room. I fortunately realized it before I had finished painting the room, and I switched over to a really pretty dusty rose, which is called Monet, also from Benjamin Moore. I made this project more complicated by carrying the paneling all the way up to the ceiling in an angled bedroom. A lot of times this wainscoting is used just as a chair rail around the room, and then you can wallpaper above it, paint above it, whatever it is. It adds such an expensive custom look to any room.